course, Don King talking about Obamacare. Obamacare, of course, is the greatest thing that's ever happened in the United States. Why do I say that? Because more people have medical care now than ever did before. More poor people, more people, middle class people. I'm trying to tell you, if in California, of course, everybody's entitled to medical care. That's one good thing about the Golden State. We're all entitled to medical care. Of course, the taxes are high here, but guess what? We have good medical care, and that is important without a doubt. We are trying to get Brent Carter on the line, of course, as I speak. Of course, the former lead singer for the Tower of Power, current guy for AWB on the line. Brent Carter, where are you at today?
What's going on, brother? I'm in Jersey. We were the last couple of nights. We were in New York for a couple of nights, and last night we were with After 7 and War in New Jersey.
So is we being the average white band or Brent Carter and friends?
We being average white band, but I'm Brent Carter, and I was definitely with some friends last night.
Okay. You know, the average white band, they started in Glasgow, Scotland, and what was sort of funny was I was the boxing columnist for the Glasgow Sunday Post for like 15 years. I mean, and I was
get out of here.
Yeah, and I was
boxing. They're really into the boxing over there.
Yeah,
really
I used to send them a column via fax, and they would send me a couple $100 every now and then. But the bottom line is I remember that was like my first international gig. It was faxing them a column once a week.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Have you ever been over there? Have you been
I've been to the UK, but I haven't been to Scotland.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, you'll dig it. And they are really serious about their boxing over there. I was surprised at how much and how intense they are about it over there.
Well, Marcus of Queensbury, of course, that's where it all came. That's where it all started.
Exactly.
I got to ask you this. You know, as a boxing promoter, I promoted a couple of fight cards in the past, and I used to count. I'm so anal that I actually count the people. I only had a small arena, 1,500 people, but I actually counted each person in the crowd. I counted the sections. And when I counted them, I took notes as to what ethnic group they were. And I was noting that even though I had a lot of black fighters on the card, only 8% of the people that were buying tickets were black. So what I'm trying to ask you is, if that was the 90s, where are black people getting their kicks with their sports with their sports money? Where are they spending it?
Well, the demographic things change, and it's in basketball. It's if you had gone to a baseball game in the 50s, say even in the 40s, when black people weren't allowed to play in the major leagues, black people still went to see major league games, and they supported the Negro leagues. In the 60s, 70s, and 80s, black people spent a good amount of money in baseball, but now it's just changed. There aren't a lot of black people spending that dollar in Major League Baseball, and they're probably spending it more in mixed martial arts and basketball and football. And some of the reasons are obvious, because that used to be the way of climbing out of the ghetto. Being a boxer, which is why in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s you had great boxers that were Jewish, Italian, Irish, and black, because they were all poor immigrants, and new to the country. That was a way to fight your way out of the ghetto. So the greatest athletes were going to boxing, but the greatest athletes now, go to basketball. And think about it. If you're a top 50 basketball player in the United States, number 50, you're making $25 or $30 million a year. If you're a number 50 boxer in the world, you're working as a maintenance guy and fighting a club on a Friday night. Seriously, and trying to get some sponsorship so that you can make $1. And that's just a reality of the situation.
Somebody said to me, in the past, of course, we've had, when the greats have clashed with each other, regardless of the skin color, of course, black on black. I'm talking about Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns back in '81, Ali Frazier, Ali Foreman. Of course, the world came together for that, and they did. But when they've got two guys that are not really known guys like Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, they didn't seem to rally around that fight like they should have. Am I right?
I think so, but I also think it's just a matter of it's changing times, and kids didn't grow up. I mean, kids didn't grow up today looking at boxing like we did. So the whole landscape is different. It's just like with other things, like with bands today. If you ask somebody who's 21 years old what their favorite band is, they might tell you Eminem. If you ask somebody our age who their favorite band is, they have 15 bands, because they grew up listening to bands. They grew up watching bands on Rock Kirshner's Rock concert. There was all that. They grew up with bands. today, they didn't grow up watching that. They grew up listening to different things, and they didn't grow up looking at boxing. It's they want the huge personalities in boxing. It's not in front of their faces like it was when we were growing up.
Switching gears just for a second to the world of music. Now that the internet has taken over the world of music to an extent, Prince hated the internet. Can recording artists make any money anymore?
You're asking the wrong person. I mean, I still think people make most of their money now. You have to do it doing live concerts.
Touring.
I mean, you still have these guys who are making couple $100 million. Some rappers and Taylor Swift. But most of that is, I mean, look at the price of a ticket now. You probably have some old ticket stubs from the Fillmore, where you could see 3 or 4 bands for $20. But now one ticket to see one band or one group that you like is $500, $600, $700, which to me is just insane.
Bruno Mars, baby. Bruno Mars is going to be happening this Friday night in Las Vegas at the MGM Park, I believe, and my attorney's buying me a ticket.
How much are the tickets,
Probably $1,000.
Damn. Yeah. Only if somebody could somehow get Donny Hathaway back alive, that's the only person I'd pay to see that. I can't even imagine paying $1,000 to see anybody sing.
I'll put it this way. Listen, I think if they, after knowing you as long as I have, since 1995, and I think I'd pay a lot of money to go see you sing.
I appreciate it. And let me tell you what, Bruno Mars is worth every dime. We were with him in Scotland, as a matter of fact, a couple of years ago. That boy is the sure enough truth. He can sing, he can dance, he plays all the instruments,
yep.
And but he really is. He's not. People just think of him kind of as a pop guy. He is an incredible artist. He's one of the best to ever do it. He really is. And people, in about 15 or 20 years, people will recognize not that he's just a great pop guy, but people are going to recognize what a great super talent he is.
Longevity. I mean, he's been cranking out gold records since 2008.
Exactly. But the dude, we did a show with him. I saw the guy dancing, getting it in, and then singing and not losing his breath.
Yeah.
It made me feel, man, I need to get out and jog and do something. It just doesn't make, it just don't make sense to be able to perform like he does. And his pitch is perfect. He's great. Okay. He's Michael Jackson great. Okay. He's Prince great. He's there with them cats.
I don't want to give up the dates, but it was a long, long time ago. I fought a couple of guys on Mare Island in Vallejo, California. It used to be a military base. Of course, Mare Island is going to be the site of the Average White Band, Can Function, Lydia Pence and Cold Blood, and of course, Morris Day and the Times, September the 9th, 2023, of course, Vallejo, California. You're coming out here. They tell me the show's like almost sold out. Is it sold out? What's going on with that?
I believe the show is completely sold out. I believe it's sold out. So,
with a lineup like that, we're talking 4 super bands.
Man, and let me tell you what, I can't wait. I'm excited about it myself because I'm a fan of music and the bands. I've never seen Morris Day and the Time before, so I'm excited about that. We were with Confunction a couple of weeks ago. I'm a big fan of theirs. And
Felton Pilot and Michael Cooper.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they're still getting along. I remember, they're from Vallejo, California, so I sort of knew what they were about. I remember a couple of times when they were growling at each other. It's like Emilio and guys growling at each other on stage.
It's funny. Felton Pilot, I was in the airport maybe a year ago, and this guy behind me sees an Average White Band thing in my bag. He says, "What you know about that band?" We get to a conversation, and he tells me who he is. And he said he was flying out to Vegas that day because Bruno Mars covered a song "Love Train." Uh-huh. And we exchanged numbers and everything. But yeah, their music that was old is current again. They're a great band, written a bunch of great songs. I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to do it. I'm going to be the first one there at the place. I'll be there for their sound check. I'm going to be there for everything. I can't wait to watch the show.
I remember one time I was with the Dramatics, Ron Banks and the Dramatics. We were kicking it in Hayward, California, and they blew off the sound check, because we were smoking weed. They blew off the sound check. And the sound was off, and the sound was terrible. And oh man, they wanted to get off the stage. They were freaking out.
Well, no, that's one thing we don't do. You can't, you cannot blow off the sound check. We would definitely do that. But when you have bands like that, I'm hoping that Morris Day does a sound check because a lot of times cats like that, he's big time. Somebody else will do the sound check for him. But I can't wait to see them. I'm really really excited about that show. As many years as I've been doing this, I still get excited about, being around. I'm a fan, and meeting. I can't wait to I don't ask people to take pictures. I'm gonna be there just like I'm on this waiting on line. I'm gonna ask Lydia Pence, can I take a picture with you? What is day and a time? I'm asking if I can take pictures with them. This is a big deal for me. I mean, I would actually buy a ticket to this show if I wasn't in it. And I would try to sneak back there to meet the people to take pictures with them.
You know what's sort of cool about Lydia Pence is that I introduced her in the 90s and the 80s at different events, both in Foster City and Redwood City, the Redwood City Fox Theater, and of course here in San Francisco, the Pier 39 Theater. So her and I go back a ways too. This is going to be a memorable event. You're coming out, of course. I'll get to see Lydia, and of course maybe I'll get introduced to.
So you can introduce me to her then. I think she's selling some Old Tower Power records too.
Yeah, she's selling some Old Tower Power records. Of course, Emilio had her together. That was back in the early 1970s. Exactly. It was Cold Blood. That was her band. Right. And her band.
Exactly. And I always wanted her to come. I always wanted her to come to a show, but I never met her the whole time I was in Tower Power. So this time I finally get a chance to meet her.
I don't think you can get her out unless she's at a show for her own self. I mean, that's.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because I live here in the Bay Area, and we don't get to see her unless she's at a gig.
Oh, okay. Well, you got to introduce me to her, and you can ask. So I don't have to be fanboy. You can ask her if she'll take a picture with your friend.
Good enough, my brother. I will see you soon, September 9th, Average White Band, Vallejo, California.
Yes, sir. Look forward to it, bro.
Thank you so much. The great Brent Carter, folks. We're going to say when it comes to singing, Brent is a man, no doubt about it. The voice, the great voice of Brent Carter. You are tuned to Ring Talk Live Worldwide.